very quick.
Yeah. Okay, Representative Hollis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we have amendments.
Right. Okay, Representative Hollis has offered up a set of amendments. I believe are in your folders, or we're passing them out now to make sure that you do have a copy. Hang on one second. We'll get a copy to you, unless it was in your folder. All right, has everybody had a chance to review the amendments? All right, while you had them yesterday, but if you hadn't had a chance to take a look at them, Ms. Jolly.
The amendments offered to House Bill 245 are as follows. On page 1, line 4, after students and before and to insert to provide for exceptions. Amendment number 2, on page 1 at the beginning of line 11, change K to K1. Amendment number 3, on page 1, line 14, after questions, delete the comma, and at the beginning of line 15, delete nor shall any other method be used. Amendment number 4, on page 1, after line 16, insert the following. 2, the provisions of paragraph 1 of this subsection shall not apply to the following. A, instruction and assessments conducted in physical education classes. B, optional questions on college entrance exams, advanced placement exams, international baccalaureate exams, and any state assessments administered to students in grades 7 through 12.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the amendments? Seeing none. Are there any objection to the adoption of the amendments? Seeing or hearing none, then those amendments are adopted. We're back on the bill. Ms. Palmieri, if you'd like to comment.
Representative Henry just asked me to be available if the committee had any questions on this bill, since Representative Hollis was handling it for him. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Go ahead. Representative Landry.
It says by request. I'm just wondering who requested it.
It's probably the one question I cannot answer. I have no idea.
I really don't know what the problem was that it's addressing. Do you know what the problem was that this is trying to address?
Sure. So there was a concern on assessments being administered in the state that they had these types of cognitive, emotional, physical, or questions that were asking emotional, physical, or psychological characteristics, attributes, or skills of students in the sort of preface to the test. So, when you're filling out your name and your address or whatever, that there were questions asking these kinds of questions. And so this is just clarifying that those kinds of questions are not allowed.
Okay.
Is it going to allow still for comparison of students across and compare whether students at risk are getting the services they need? Is this making it completely only academic testing and can't tell anything else about the student? I mean, is it going to impact comparison and testing in any way?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, Representative Bishop.
I don't know where to even start with this. First of all, I've been in 5 years. I've never seen by request. Secondly, we had a long conversation last week dealing with a well-negotiated compromise that kind of went back and forth. And since the author is not here, I can't ask this question of him, but this language seems to mirror some of what we talked about on last week. So I'm actually wondering, and I hate to put you in this position, Representative Hollis, but you're here representing the author. What's the purpose of this bill?
Well, let me just give my statement. We teach our children English language, arts, math, science, social studies. Those are the only subjects I think that we should be teaching our students on. This bill restricts testing on students' emotional, physical, and psychological skills. I think that's the intent of Representative Henry's bill, and that's why I believe that he is offering it.
You got to explain that to me. You said emotional, physical, and psychological skills. Are we doing that now?
Stafford, if you want to comment.
I think there's some concern that we are, and there was a discussion maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago about whether or not parents can view tests. And so I think since in general, for test security reasons, the parents can't see the tests, there wanted to be clarity that those are the types of questions that you can't ask. As to whether or not they're on the test, I really can't answer that question either, nor can I tell you who requested the bill. But I don't think that this bill is going to change anything about what's happening with the current tests from the perspective of the
It sounds like
compromise.
a solution looking for a problem. I like to move to be voluntarily defer this bill.
Okay, there's a motion to voluntarily defer this bill. Is any objection? Okay, only the author can, so what can we do?
What can we do?
Well, if I may, I actually...
Okay, Representative Hollis, you can voluntarily defer the bill for,
I know it is.
no, we can't, no. Not in committee. I don't think you can do it in committee. Well, we're gonna voluntarily defer this baby. Okay. Representative Hollis, would you make a motion for us, or what would you like?
Chairman, voluntarily defer the bill.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Representative Carmody, on your bill, then we will defer Representative Henry's House Bill 245 is voluntarily deferred. Thank you, Representative Hollis. Sorry to put you on the spot. Okay.
Okay, members, to very briefly discuss this bill. The parentheses by request after that, I don't really know what that means, but this bill was brought by me because I thought it was a good bill. So I don't know what that flag means to anyone, but that you don't have to worry about. This bill is not part of any, doesn't break any agreement we've made with the park test and the Common Core and all those issues. There was a list of about 11 bills, 9 to 11 bills, the chairman of specific bills that the Department of Education did not think were in the best interest to move forward with. This was not one of those bills because at the time, and I'm assuming they still don't, they didn't have a problem with the bill. So as it relates to any deals, I'm going to do nothing at all anywhere in the process to offset that. This bill came out of some questions that were asked on a park test in other states, and they wanted to make sure that we only tested students on questions that they knew the answers for. We didn't ask them what they believe in, what they feel like. That is strictly the reasoning for that bill, 100%. If it leaves this committee, it will stay in this format. I'm not playing any games with any of it. I know there's an amendment from the Department of Education that I've worked with them on. I mean, she can come up and discuss it if you all like, to take care of some of the concerns they had, and then I'll ask as many questions as you all like me to answer.
Okay, hang on one second. I think, didn't we already approve the amendment?
You already do the amendments?
Yeah.
Those are the amendments that were the request of the Department of Education. So that's where we are.
We adopted the amendments, if I recall. Representative Henry, let me just ask a question. Will you give your commitment that in the event that the bill gets to the floor, that you will not accept any amendments on your bill?
Oh yeah, I'm telling you all right here, right now, this bill will stay just like it is. If the whole entire deal for whatever we're working for, the park and Common Core, all falls to you know what, at the end of the day, this bill will look just like this, and I give a commitment to everyone here that assuming it's not a technical amendment, we will keep this bill in its exact format all the way through the process. I don't think I can be any clearer, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for that answer. And we're trying to figure out if we have to re-vote based on the fact that it was voluntarily deferred. I've got to make sure procedurally that we're in order. So hang on one second.
I think you reconsidered that motion. I think you reconsidered that motion.
Okay, so we don't
You
need
want to vote for it?
Okay,
Just
hold on,
swept.
we'll let you talk to 'em.
Someone from the opposing.
Okay, in response to the question about do we have to bring a vote back up, Ms. Jolly,
I believe since the vote was 12-0 to voluntarily defer, everybody was on the prevailing side, so there should not be a reason to have to reconsider a vote. And the amendments were already adopted, so it's in the posture of with those amendments on it.
Okay.
all right, Representative Carmody.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Henry, again, just to reiterate, your bill is to basically test students on the knowledge on the subject matter they have been taught, as opposed to asking them about their feelings or.
That's all. That's all it does, and that's all it will ever do.
There are no further questions, Representative Carmody, Representative. I had a couple of cards in, hang on one second, that from last time that I need to read in. You also have the other 3 cards. While we're doing it, in opposition would like to speak Stephanie DeSalle with cable and Sandy McDade. Okay, that's another bill. Okay, but it said on 245, so I'm okay. All right. And also, in opposition is Bridget Nealon with Law B, Barry Irwin with Cable, and Jason Hughes with Stand for Children. So, yes, ma'am, please introduce yourself for the record.
Stephanie DeSalle with the Council for a Better Louisiana. I agree with Representative's intent that no one wants inappropriate questions about feelings or emotions and that sort of thing on any kind of test. And the amendments, of course, were good. But the only question we have is, does this apply to all testing in schools on the word psychological? Because a lot of psychological tests are used to gauge where some of our special ed students are and to gauge where their disabilities are. So that's our only question. It's not about the intent
No,
or
I'm with you.
anything like that. That was just our concern. And in fact, I almost put in a white card because it was more these questions.
I believe the amendment from the department should have addressed that question, did it? Yeah. Yes, my understanding is that was one of the department amendments were to address that concern. That's why we did that, to make sure that would be taken care of. And if it's not, we'll find a way to fix it.
Okay,
if that
thank y'all
makes-
very much. That was our concern.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The board is clear. Representative Henry, you want to close on your bill?
No, members, I appreciate you staying an extra few minutes to get this done. Obviously, as I said before, and I read it again, the way it stands now is the way it will be, unless we have not fixed this lady's concern as it deals with that particular area, and then we'll address that. But I'll speak with you individually before that amendment's brought to the floor.
Okay, so in the event that someone place an amendment on your bill, you will not accept any amendments on your bill?
We have to fix her.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay.
We rock solid.
All right,
Guaranteed.
Representative Carmody moves to report House Bill 245 favorable with amendments. Is there any objection? Seeing their hearing done, then we will report HB 245 favorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Okay, are any other matters of business? With amendment. Is there any